All right, let's dive into something, well, pretty mind-bending. We're going to unpack this incredible idea from our source material that asks a huge question. What if the very blueprint of divine revelation actually follows the same strange rules as quantum physics?
I mean, think about it. What if one of the most head-scratching rules in all of modern science, the stuff that physicists are still debating, wasn't just for tiny little subatomic particles?
What if that very principle is actually the secret key to unlocking the deep, hidden structure of the Quran? That's the core idea we're exploring today, using a rule from science to reveal a stunning symmetry within a sacred text. Sounds a little out there, right? Well, let's see where it takes us. Okay, so the big concept here is called wave-particle duality. In physics, it basically means that something, like light, can be two totally different things at the exact same time. It can act like a spread-out, continuous wave of energy, and it can also act like a tiny, solid, localized particle. Now, the phrase you gotta hold on to is both at once. Seriously, lock that in your mind because it is the key to everything we're about to explore.
So let's get into the first half of this duality, the wave. In this framework, you can think of the wave as this unseen, universal flow of divine knowledge and mercy. It's everywhere.
So the wave represents this eternal, universal form of truth. It's something that isn't tied to a specific time or a single place. And this whole aspect is personified by the angel Gabriel, the traditional bearer of revelation.
And look, this isn't just an abstract idea. It's anchored right in the scripture. Take this verse. It identifies the pure spirit, Gabriel, as the one who brings down the divine truth. That's a direct link, connecting him to this spiritual, almost wave-like form of pure knowledge. So, how does this wave actually show up in the world? Well, according to this framework, it happens in a few incredible ways. First, you've got the Quran itself. That's the eternal word in its purest wave form. Then there's Isa, or Jesus, who is described as a word from him, which is essentially the wave made manifest, in human form. And finally, you have Ahmed, Prophet Muhammad, who acts as this perfect vessel, receiving that wave of knowledge and transmitting it as light for everyone.
But hey, remember our physics lesson? For every wave, there's a particle? So let's flip the coin and look at the other side of this duality, the particle. This is all about specific, tangible, direct action.
The particle is basically the polar opposite of the wave. It's not unseen and universal. It's specific, it's physical, and it's all about action in the real world. Think of it as law or a direct commandment. And in this model, this force is associated with the angel Michael.
And check this out. This verse names both angels, Jibril and Michael, right next to each other. According to this framework, that's no accident. It highlights them as this fundamental pair. One brings the unseen wave of knowledge, while the other governs the seen particle of action. It's a perfect balance. So where do we see this particle manifest? While the Torah, is the perfect example. It's truth delivered as a set of specific laws. And Musa, or Moses, is its embodiment. He's a figure of direct physical action. But here's a really key symbolic point. Tradition says that Musa's final resting place is unknown. This is interpreted as the particle of law being absorbed back into the earth, symbolizing that it's incomplete on its own, until it's unified with the wave of mercy.
I mean, this just lays out the two sides of the coin so perfectly. On one hand, you have the wave, unseen, universal mercy, represented by Isa, who the Quran says was raised alive. On the other, you have the particle, seem, specific law, represented by Musa, whose body was hidden from the world. Two totally different energies, two different fates.
Okay, so we've got the wave of knowledge and the particle of action. How in the world do you connect two states that are so different? Well, this framework points to a unique figure who acts as the bridge.
That bridge is the prophet Idris. His whole story is one of pure ascension. It's like he makes a quantum leap from the physical to the spiritual. So think about it like this. Since Isa is pure wave energy, he doesn't die in a normal sense. He ascends as Idris, returning directly to the source. But Musa, the particle of law, he can't make that leap by himself. His law needs to be purified by that spiritual energy, so he has to meet Idris in the heavens to become complete.
And the Quran itself points to Idris's unique role, saying he was raised to a high station. This is why he's seen as the ultimate archetype of ascension, the perfect bridge between the physical particle and the spiritual wave.
We've seen the duality, and we've seen the bridge. Now we come to the final, crucial piece of the puzzle,
the figure who doesn't just bridge the two forces, but unifies them completely.
And this brings us to the great unifier, Prophet Muhammad, also called Ahmed. In him, the wave of knowledge and the particle of action finally come together. They resonate as a single, unified light. He both receives the wave in the form of the Quran, and he lives the particle through his every action.
Let's just pause and put it all together. Just look at the incredible symmetry here. For the wave, you have an unseen form, the Quran and Isa. For the particle, a seen form, the Torah and Musa. You have these two complementary systems, mercy versus law, knowledge versus justice, running perfectly in parallel.
So what does it really mean to be the seal of the prophets? Well, in this framework, it means the duality is resolved. The separation is over. The wave of Isa and the particle of Musa are finally brought together, unified in one message and one life.
So let's recap the core truths of this system. Isa ascended because he was pure wave. Musa's body vanished because the particle of law has to dissolve before it can be completed by the wave of mercy. The Quran, then, is like the return of Isa's truth, not in a body, but as eternal knowledge. And finally, Ahmed is the very point where it all comes together, where the wave of Gabriel and the particle of Michael meet in perfect balance.
You know, the entire dynamic is described as a kind of Mobius loop, that weird shape with only one continuous side. It's a perfect symbol for a self-correcting cycle, where every end already contains the seed for the next beginning.
And it all leads back to this incredibly powerful verse, Allah is the light. And what is light in our physical world? It's the ultimate example of wave-particle duality. It's as if the very fabric of our universe is reflecting the same deep structure we're finding in Revelation.
This framework really offers a powerful lens for reflection, and it leaves us with a final question to ponder. If this fundamental duality of wave and particle is reflected in both physics and metaphysics, what other deep, beautiful patterns are woven into the very fabric of our reality, just waiting to be seen?